Hello, year 3 and 4. It's me, Mr. A, back with story time for another day. Get on with Michael Morpurgo's amazing story of Adolphus Tips. So, Monday, May 22nd, 1944. Barry's 11th birthday. Barry's mum had brought down his birthday cake. She'd saved up her ration coupons for weeks and weeks. "I made it special," she said, and it was very special. Fruit cake with marzipan and royal icing with his name written on it in blue piping. Barry blew out the candles and closed his eyes to make his wish. Ivy had tears in her eyes and was trying not to cry. I think they were both wishing for the same thing, for the impossible, for Barry's father to be coming home. "I'll miss Ivy when she goes tomorrow. I think we all will. She makes us smile. She turns off Uncle George's crackling radio when we talk. She laughs a lot and never pretends. I like that. She means everything she says. I like people who mean what they say. A bit like Barry, really, but I wish she wouldn't call me Ducky." Friday, May 26th, 1944. Mum's not been at all well. She's been coughing a lot for days now. She's very pale. The doctor came yesterday and said she had to have bed rest until she stops her coughing. Grandfather said that I could stay off school and look after her for a day or two and help around the house with the cooking and cleaning. Barry said he'd stay home to help too, but Grandfather wouldn't hear of it and sent him off to school. Barry's not very pleased. He shouldn't grumble though. He's had lots of days off school to help out in the farm, especially at lambing time. Mum had a letter from Dad today, so that cheered her up. He says he's somewhere in the south of England. He can't say where. Mum thinks he'll be going on the invasion when it happens. Maybe he'll meet up with Adi like we hoped he would. She keeps all his letters by her bed all the time, beside his photo. This afternoon I went for a walk on my own up on top of the hill. The larks were flying so high that I could only hear them, but I couldn't see them. I didn't see the buzzards. I did see the buzzards, 2 of them, floating on the air over the trees, mewing. For a moment they sounded just like Tips. Then I looked out to sea and saw the ships in the bay, dozens and dozens of them. I've never seen so many. It's the invasion. It must be. They're not gathered there for nothing, are they? There's one other thing I noticed today while I was up there. It wasn't only the sounds of the countryside I could hear about me. There was always a dull droning. I couldn't think what it was at first. Then I knew. It was the rumble of engines. Jeeps, lorries, tanks. It was the rumble of war. I stood on top of the hill with the wind blowing in my face, smelling the sea, and all I could think of was Adi. I said a prayer out loud, then I shouted it into the wind. "Please God, let him come and see me before he goes to the war. Please God, please." There's a picture of what you could see in the bay. Tuesday, June 6th, 1944. We heard it on the radio. They've gone. The invasion began this morning. Adi's gone, Dad too probably. D-Day they're calling it. I don't know why. We all knew something was going on before we heard it on the radio. Before dawn there was a distant thundering and roaring out to sea. Out of my window I could see flashes all along the horizon, and I knew then it wasn't just another thunderstorm. There must have been thousands of guns firing at the same time. And when Barry and me ran up over the fields after breakfast and looked out to sea, we saw all the ships had gone. So it was no surprise when on the radio this evening it said that we had landed all along the French coast. Americans, British, Canadians, French, all sorts. Uncle George said we'd show the Germans now. He and Mum drank too much cider together and danced a jig around the kitchen to celebrate. And Uncle George's mad dog danced too, barking his silly head off. To start with, Barry and me sat and watched them. And, there they are. Everyone was laughing. Mum still coughs when she laughs, but she's much better. But in the end we got up and danced with them. We did a conga round and round the table till we all got puffed out. Then Mum gave Barry and me 2 mint humbugs each and some lemonade to celebrate. Uncle George and Mum had a whiskey each and we all clinked our glasses. "To victory!" Uncle George said. Grandfather came in from milking later and Mum told him what we'd heard on the radio. He said nothing, but went to wash his hands in the sink. Then all he said was, "Poor beggars, poor beggars." Mum said when she came up to bed a few minutes ago that today was the beginning of the end of the war, that Dad would be back soon, and then we could go back home to the farm and everything would be as it was before. But I don't think anything will ever be like it was again. Nothing stays the same, does it? Nothing is ever like it was, is it? All I can think about as I write this is that Adi might be lying out there somewhere on some French beach, dead or wounded, and I'll never know, because no one will ever tell me, because no one will ever know what we knew each other. I try closing my eyes and picturing him in my head. I try so hard to see him not dead and not wounded either. I try to see him alive and smiling at me. Whatever happens to him, wherever he is, that's how I'm going to remember him forever. I know I should be thinking of Dad too, and I am. I'm trying. I'm thinking of them both now. I'm praying for them too. This is me writing now, Bowie. This is your grandma. I wrote lots and lots more in my diary after this, but none of it is very interesting. And anyway, the mice got some of it years later, and my diary books were stored in a box up in the attic. Mice or squirrels, I can't be sure. There are only 2 more entries I wanted to show you because they finish the whole supremely amazing story, insofar as my story finishes at all. And if you don't understand quite what I mean by that, then you'll find out soon enough, but not until after the whole of the story is unfolded. Curiouser and curiouser. Thursday, October 5th, 1944. My birthday, and we've moved back home. It should have been the best birthday present I ever had. I was longing for today, and now it's come and I should be happy, but I'm not. This house isn't my home. It's an empty shell stacked with furniture, tea chests everywhere, and it's damp. When we arrived, the front door was hanging off its hinges, so anyone could have been in and out. And by the look of it, they had been too. It's a real mess. There's black mould on the ceiling, green in some places, and there are dead birds and leaves everywhere. The wallpaper's falling off above the chimney in the sitting room, and 6 of the windows are broken. The rain's come in and rotted the windowsill in my bedroom. The ceiling in Grandfather's room has come down in one corner. There's a hole in the roof where the slates have been blasted away by some shell. The gutters are full of grass, and one drain pipe has fallen down into the garden and smashed the greenhouse. Not that you can call it a garden, not anymore. You can hardly see a flower. Grass has grown up everywhere. You can't even see where the flower beds in the vegetable garden were. The granary must have taken a direct hit from a shell because there's nothing left of it but rubble. Barry and me went off on a walk around the farm. There's nettles and docks head high wherever you look, but the worst of it is that it's all so quiet. Only Grandfather seems truly happy to be home. "Never you mind," Grandfather said this evening as we sat around the table in the kitchen in gloomy silence. "Once we bring the animals back tomorrow, the place will come alive, you'll see. We'll soon put it all right, spick and span in no time. Few hens about the place and they'll cackle loud enough to drive out any quiet." I hope he's right. At least I'm back in my own room, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. All I've got so far is my bed, my chair and my lamp. My room smells. The whole house smells. P.S. I can't believe this. I just finished writing my diary and was reaching out to blow out the lamp when I noticed some writing on the wall by the window, in pencil. This is what it says. January 10th, 1944. Harry and Adi were here looking for tips. Welcome home, Lily. I just keep reading it over and over again. I can't stop crying, and I don't know whether it's because I'm happy or I'm sad. I'm both. I'm not going to tell anyone about this. Not tonight. It was written to me, so tonight I'm going to keep it to myself. I'll tell the others in the morning. I have to look at it again and again to believe that it's real. Alright. So, I'm going to leave that there, and I'll, probably finish that off next time. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.